What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 25 of our podcast, Sip in Sports. I'm Dave. This is Chris. How are we?
We're good. I'm excited.
Yeah. A lot of things coming, or what?
Yeah.
What's so exciting?
There wasn't that much excitement in my voice, but I'm excited about our guest today.
Yeah, big deal.
That's
big
why I'm
time
excited.
coming. Took us 25 episodes.
And
Finally made time for us on his schedule.
yeah,
You know, he has the whole summer's free, but he took 1 week. You know, it's tough. But we're happy. We're happy he's here. We're happy he's here.
and also other fun fact is there's our first live audience today, which is
Live
another
audience.
notable thing.
Yeah. So you might hear some cheering. You might hear some boos. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, probably more boost, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so same rundown, but we'll kind of roll through these first couple things so we can get to the most exciting part. But top moment in sports last week, go.
Yeah, so mine was Rory McIlroy winning the FedEx Championship. Decent payday for him, $18.5 million.
Decent.
He was minus 21 overall. He outlasted Scotty Scheffler and Sung Ji Im. I probably butchered that, but they were both minus 20. So they both took home a little bit over $5 million, and Rory took home 18.
They each were only 5, and he had 18.
Only is a
But
little.
compared
Well, yeah.
to for
100%.
second place.
100%. I mean, 18 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, but he deserved it after the comeback.
Well, 100%. And this is his third time, I think, taking home the FedEx Championship. So, and it's only going to keep going up and up now that Live Golf is competing. So it's like, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and everybody complaining about Scotty Scheffler starting so far ahead, that kind of resolved itself.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of choked it away, but yeah. I mean, he was +3 on the last day. If he would have just shot even, he would have won.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
it's okay. Happens.
All right, so my top sports moment was, if any of you were watching the Little League World Series, you probably had to be on it because Hawaii just absolutely demolished almost everybody that they played. They won it overall.
Yeah. They beat Chinese Taipei, wasn't it?
No.
No, it's Curacao.
Yeah, Curacao beat
Beat
Chinese
Chinese
Taipei,
Taipei, yep.
and then Hawaii absolutely smashed Curacao 13-3. 4 innings.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to be that guy. That was my team. I said Hawaii was going to dominate. I mean, their ERA going into the Little League, into the championship, into the final, like the whatever final days was like 0.2. They outscored opponents 49-2. I mean, 49 runs to 2.
Yeah, they dominated. I'll admit my team was Texas, and they played them once and lost. But
They came up with a good fight, though. Texas was good.
yeah, they got 3rd in the U.S. side.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. That's
Right.
fair.
Yeah. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see. It's always interesting to me to see where these kids like end up in 5 years. Because like you were obviously that dominant. Obviously, there's the stories of Danny Almonte cheating, being like 16 years old. But it's like, where are these kids going to go in 6, 7, 8 years?
There's some huge kids on Hawaii.
Yeah, and they throw is very hard
Yeah, they're
from very close.
big.
Yeah, so shout out to them. We'll keep an eye on them.
Yep. All right, let's get into the Minnesota Minute. Let's roll through this here.
Yeah, so Twins swept the Giants on a 3-game series. They played the Red Sox to start the week, and now the White Sox coming up, which is a huge series. Vikings finished preseason 0-3, lost to the Broncos. They obviously play the Packers on 9/11 to start the season. Minnesota United, kind of on a heater, beat Houston, played Real Salt Lake Wednesday. And to wrap it up with our guy coming on soon, Gopher football plays New Mexico State today. 37-point favorites. The Jerry Kill return.
But it's not about him.
It's no, in every interview it's not about him, but it's about him. It's about him. If you have to let the people know it's not about you, it's about you.
100%. Yep.
It's about
That's pretty much
players.
how it works.
Yep. So
Well, rolling right into the pick recap. It was a good week for David.
it was.
15-6 overall, and that included 9-2 baseball.
That was kind of opposite of what we talked about.
You were only 1-2 WNBA.
Yeah, because I tried to bet the overs and the ladies just didn't want to score points.
It's playoffs. Defense locked them down.
Yeah.
And then 5-2 soccer. So really, the only mediocre one was WNBA. Everything else was just
Baseball was good, which is crazy
Superb.
because baseball's always not been our strong suit.
right. Yeah, 15-6. We'll continue that.
Let's hope.
Mine was slightly less than average, 10-11.
I feel like every week.
Classic.
10 and 11.
10 and 11 or 11 and 10.
Yeah.
And it's always both are possible going into the last day, and then it just depends on if you're 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. Pretty much.
100%.
But I was 3 and 6 MLB, 7 and 3 soccer.
Well, and I know
So
I
pretty
texted you
solid.
this on soccer. You had one game where they got a foul in the box, a handball. And the game was
Towards
tied
the end
1-1.
of
It was like the 91st minute,
Yeah.
and it was called a handball, and then VAR said no handball, just a corner kick.
Yeah, and then it was
And
tied.
it was
and
over.
lost.
So, happens.
Yep. And then I was 0-2 on football. 1 NCAA and 1
That Nebraska game was
preseason.
brutal.
Yeah, they're not very good.
They're
But
bad.
we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the picks recap. And then since today is the start of September, we got a few things cooking for you. Now we're going to share those. So starting in September, whichever one of us has a worse month record, we're bringing it back, Ice Bucket Challenge. So whoever loses in the month, that person has to have a bucket of ice cold water and dump it over their body.
Correct. The
Yeah.
Ice Bucket Challenge.
And that's going to be right before one of the episodes, so then we can see visually if you're watching on YouTube, or you can maybe hear the teeth chattering in the winter
Yeah. You'll
at the
probably
beginning
see,
of the episode.
Yeah. You'll definitely hear the ice fall. But yeah, it could be a good time.
Yep. So that's coming starting September. Second thing, now that the NFL season is starting next week, we're going to be doing the Eliminator Challenge. So each week we'll pick a team. It's going to be a different team from each of us each week. But if our team wins, then we can't use that team in any of the future weeks. And we'll see how far each of us can go. Getting them all right.
That would be a miracle.
It might be 2 weeks. It might be 10.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and it's just straight ups. It's not spreads. It's
yeah,
nothing
just
fancy.
win and loss.
It's trying to help us out, but
Nothing crazy. Get our confidence going.
yeah.
And
That's
then,
on top. That's separate from our normal bets, though.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
So we'll still have the 3 bet today. That's just completely separate.
Yep. And so we'll post who our team is. Obviously, we'll say it in the episode each week, but we'll also put it onto the bet slip on Thursday mornings when the episode goes out.
Bang.
And then the third thing, shout out to our correspondent that's coming on here, I don't know, in like
About
a
10
minute.
seconds, yeah. Once we wrap this.
Yeah,
up.
probably about 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah.
But we're also doing, what are we going to call it? Super Bowl Pick'em?
Yeah, we could call it that. I mean, there's really no good. I mean, it's just 5 teams that we think in a snake draft could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Will win the Super Bowl.
So we'll each have a list of 5 teams, and then whoever's team, hopefully one of the teams wins. But whoever's team wins, then they get something.
Yeah. We'll figure out the
at
prize
the end
coming
of the
through.
year.
But, yeah.
So next week is going to be the draft for that.
Yep. That'll kick it off.
Live on the pod.
You got it.
We're good?
We're good with that.
All right, cool. Let's bring him in. Is it just NCAA football
Correspondent.
and guest for the night, Andrew Paul.
Oh, let me just scoot on in here.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Crowd went crazy.
Wow.
Crowd went crazy.
Yeah, live studio audience didn't get the little blinker there.
Yeah. Obviously didn't see the person holding the sign that said cheer louder now. But,
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah, so here he is. Obviously, go for season ticket holder for what? 5 years? Or how long?
Yeah, it's coming up 4 or 5 years
4 or
here.
5?
No. Yeah.
There it is.
Big fan.
Oh,
I love all college football.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky to kind of get the invite finally. It only took about
25.
what, 25 weeks?
24
episodes of badgering, and
Yeah.
and here I am. So
Yeah,
You
a
know,
lot of the
never-
suggestions came from this guy that we come through. So
Yeah.
big Twitter guy, also Matt's a big Twitter guy too. But we're ready to roll.
yeah.
Let's get after it. So let's do the beer and seltzer.
Yep, that's what we're starting with today.
All right. So we're giving it a second chance. I don't know if you've ever had these, but we're doing black cherry hard Mountain Dews. So last
Have you
week
ever
we
had
did.
those?
Wow, no.
Last week we did the Baja Blast,
Yeah.
and needless to say, they were underperformed. They underperformed big time, but this is a new chance, and
Yeah,
we're ready to roll.
I've made a few hard Mountain Dews before, but not, the company
Not
hasn't made them
actually.
for me, and
Well,
so
to be honest, you should have patented. You could be a. I
got
know
a
you have a
couple-
lot of patents.
I got a
done.
couple
Yeah,
other
no,
things
I
in the
know.
works. We'll talk about those on future pods if I ever get invited back, but
Probably. And then the beer that we're going with is called Thawless Victory from Brewstillary,
Where's that at? Does it say on there?
Roseville, Minnesota.
Oh, let's go.
Have you ever heard that?
Well, yeah, of course.
You heard that?
the Ben.
Dude, we
You
used
know,
to go there all the time.
Brewstillary.
Yeah, 100%. That's a crispy
My old-
can. That's a crispy can.
My old stomping grounds. Yeah, I mean it's iced out.
It is
Yeah.
iced out.
Oh,
It would be kind of, you can't really read it, so it would be
Yeah.
nice if they made it different, but it's still sick.
This is what it looks like. It's kind of tough to read, in my opinion.
100%.
You can't.
Especially when it's
You
like,
have to squint.
when you put it in the...
Well, the
like,
shadows
the
here.
shadows.
Yeah.
They're-
Well, in the fridge, I mean, you have the water, like the condensation dripping
Yeah,
down.
but it's a cold IPA. So it's
Cold IPA?
yeah, it's well, we can do the Mountain Dew thing first.
Yeah. I'm just curious what a cold IPA
Yeah,
is.
I feel like.
Like if you leave it on the
fridge
sun,
works,
is it
or-
warm or what?
I'll explain it.
Oh, expert
Okay.
here.
All right, so we're gonna start once with the
Yeah.
Mountain Dews. But we'll let him pour these. Cold. It's light. Kind of looks like a blonde ale. Is that what it is, or should we not say it?
No, he's gonna let us know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
What is the percent? Alcohol?
I don't know.
Okay.
6.3.
6.3. These are 5. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. We're still. It doesn't really say hard seltzer on there, but we think it's. I mean,
No, it's a
hard.
malt. It's a malt beverage,
It's a malt beverage, but it does
Oh,
say
yeah.
hard on the top.
but it's
so
hard.
it
It's
gets-
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
All right.
Try it
So
out,
start
man.
with the Mountain Dew.
Smell it. Do whatever you gotta do.
That's what the can looks like.
Oof. Oof.
It's struggling.
What's your first impression, Andrew?
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't
It doesn't taste like black.
like it. Black cherry's a stretch. It's a little bit.
It's very much a
It,
stretch.
it
It kind of tastes like the Code Red. Like if I was
that's
gonna give it a
probably
con-
yeah. That's
probably what they're going
That's
for.
probably what they're going for. But it's almost like you open the Code Red can, waited 2 hours, and then took a sip. And like it's almost tastes just like a little flat. And maybe that's where the hard stuff is. But I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say these are just. It's just we gave it another chance. It's still disappointing. Just disappointing. I don't drink a lot of Mountain Dew, but like, it's just disappointing. Brings you back to the high school days where you'd play video games with your friends and drink a whole thing of Cup Mountain Dew, and
Yeah,
just
no-
not very good though.
No care in the world. Just
Woke up the
Slamming
next day
can
at
after
12.
can.
Yeah, had pizza rolls and some other good food. And it's a cool can though. I mean, it's sick.
oh good.
It looks good. Yeah, the can looks good. That's about
That's about the extent.
That's where
the
extent-
most of the goodness.
You got a little
yeah.
bear here.
Yeah.
100 calories though. Love to see that.
There you go.
The good cows.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you know what you're giving it?
Yep. 5-1. I think that's pretty similar to what I gave the Baja Blast. It's the same thing. I mean, I know we gave it another chance. It's just syrup. It's like thick. Do you know what I gave the Baja one? It's in the 5s. I think it's like 5.3.
No, it was 5.8.
Wow. Way off. Yeah, this just doesn't taste. I mean, like you said, black cherry is such a stretch. If they would have said, like, oh, this is similar to Code Red, sure. But like black, this is not black cherry.
Trick your mind a little bit.
Yeah, it's just not black cherry. And it's syrup. It's so thick and like syrupy. I just. Oof.
Yeah. I
Andrew?
mean, I'm not as down on it as Dave, right? It's not something I would want more than maybe 1 or 2 of, but I think it's fine. I give it like a 6.4
Okay.
is what I'd say.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean,
not
it's
bad.
it's kind of flat pop,
Yeah.
and pop is good, you know. So I mean, it's good, but it's nothing
it
to
good?
nothing to write. Yeah, I'm trying to will
Yeah.
myself to
Is it
saying
good?
it's good.
Yeah.
It's nothing to write home about. I'll say that.
If
But
I
not
say
bad.
it's good, how many times do I have to say it
Yeah.
so that I actually
I'm gonna
believe
trick
it's
my
good?
brain, and it's good. It's
Right,
good. I
right.
swear.
I mean, you did explain it as you open a can of Code Red and leave it out for a few hours.
Nah, and that's
That's good. That's the good stuff.
tell me I'm wrong.
I guess.
Yeah. Nair?
I'm giving it a 4.2.
That's higher than Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Baja Blast was in the 3s.
No, it's 4.1.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
What's the-
What do you like
I
more?
think this
What's the
is-
0.1 difference?
I think that this one tastes slightly less syrupy.
Okay. Now, can I say, are you
berries.
Are you a fan of Baja Blast straight from the fountain at Taco Bell?
I would say that I like Baja Blast better than Code Red,
Okay.
but I like this.
They didn't do the hard stuff justice.
I like this better than the Baja Blast hard.
I mean, we're talking pennies here.
Yeah, but still better.
The Baja Blast, I will say this was a big disappointment.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Deco thought it was good, but I don't know what they're selling in Iowa, but obviously it's not good stuff. But yeah, bad overall.
Yeah.
Tough day. We gave it a second chance. I don't even know. Do we even finish the whole case, or
Probably
do we
not.
give it out to somebody?
Yeah,
we bring it to a party and just
We
say,
can just get rid of it. Yeah. All right, we're moving on to the cold IPA.
Yeah. This used to be Andrew Stomping Grounds in Roseville.
Yep. Thawless Victory.
So let's make what is the cold part?
Yeah, enlighten us here.
So it's hopped with Cryo Pop and Cryo X. What does that say?
you can't even.
You
See, this is the can
you
flaw.
can't
here.
even tell.
It's the can flaw.
X something.
Is that EXUA?
Exant or something?
So this is a
Something
cold
with cold.
IPA is fermented at lower temperatures.
Yeah.
So
That would make
that's-
sense since it's a white out can.
Yeah, that makes everything.
Yeah, it says it's
illegible.
cold and crispy. Yeah, chill and crispy. The marketing person should probably be fired, but
Yeah, like you could make it a little bit like outlined in black so that you can actually read
At
what
least
you're
I
doing.
mean, some of it.
we could do something better.
Or like a darker gray.
Yeah,
I
not
don't
food for thought.
I don't know. It looks good, but it is not practical. But yeah, 6.3%.
Different.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a unique taste there.
I think it's probably better than some IPAs that I've had. Definitely,
I mean,
I'd say it's definitely better.
It's
than
for sure less like in your face hoppy
IPA.
IPA.
It's a JV
Which is
Yeah.
good.
compared to those.
Which is good for the people that don't really like IPAs.
Yes, and I fall into that category as well. Yeah,
Well, there we
yeah,
go.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I actually don't think it's bad. Would I get one? Maybe. But like, if I got one, I would be fine with it. But I wouldn't get two.
Yes.
I wouldn't, because I'm not an IPA guy though. So
So
if you like IPAs,
So each of us have our number.
Yeah.
That if it's above, then we would get more than one. If it's below, then we wouldn't get more than
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
What do you think your number is?
I think my number it's probably 6.8.
Okay.
You know, 6.8.
that's
Anything over
very
that.
high.
That's a good number.
That
Well,
is a
yeah.
good number.
Yeah.
That's-
And I'm generous grader everywhere, but
Yeah,
I'm
you
a
are a
teacher,
teacher,
so
so
I'm
there you
an
go.
art
Shout out.
teacher. I can,
Shout out to Farmington.
Yep.
That's why they're all in the academic honor roll.
Well,
Shout out
we
to
love
you.
to just pass out those A's.
That sounds about right. Dave, what's your number again?
My number was like mid fives.
To get more than one.
Yep. I will say this IPA, I think we've had another IPA, and this one is definitely better than that one. This one is
The
a chiller.
Axeman one.
Oh, that was Suchas.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to you, Josh, but that Axeman was not my favorite.
Well, isn't that a double?
I don't know.
I think it's a double, yeah.
I mean, that's
Todd the Axeman or something.
that hits you twice.
It
where
does hit you
hurts.
twice.
Yeah.
But do you want to go first with your score? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, one last. Yeah, when it comes to, I mean, like I said, IPAs, it's got the IPA front taste right at the beginning, and then it kind of dies off into nothing at the end, which is okay. I'm not the biggest IPA guy,
Right.
so where would I put this? Not bad. Would I get multiple? Probably not. Try something else on the menu. I'll give it I think it's a 6.2.
Okay.
Like, it's respectable. It's just
Yep. Not
Well,
worthy of a second one.
So
well,
you-
similar to the heart. It's just nothing to write home about. It's
So
nothing
you
to-
liked the Mountain Dew better than this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just like taste for taste. And again, I'm not an IPA guy, and so I appreciate it not being super hoppy.
Yeah.
But it's a fine beer. It's something that you'd try it once at a brewery, and you'd say, you know what?
Let's move on.
Let's
get something else
get
on
something
there.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave?
I would probably say I'm similar, but if my threshold, let's say, is 5.8, I would probably say this is a 5.2. So I would not get a second one.
I didn't know that your 5.8 was your threshold. I thought it was low sixes.
For a second one of these?
First second one of any.
Oh,
I think it's closer to the higher 5s.
So you get 5-2.
5.2.
So you like it just more than the Mountain
I think it's better than the Mountain Dew one, yes.
Just barely.
But as a beer, I mean, the Mountain Dew one has to be one of the worst seltzers we've had, in my opinion.
You're too hard on it.
Shout out to Mountain
Which
Dew.
one's
Maybe
better,
crap
this one or the Topo Chico pineapple?
I'm not starting them.
Yeah, people might get mad at you for that.
Probably people are going to get mad at that take that Mountain Dew's seltzer was trash, but there it is.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 6.6.
6.6.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
I would say it's definitely higher on the IPA scale for me. But partially to what you guys said, it's not super IPA-y,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I almost get like a little bit of citrus at the end. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Like an orange citrus? Like a
No,
little...
I get
You
that. That's
got that?
kind of, it's almost, it's the peel,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
'cause
if you
it's
were
so
to bite
light.
into an orange, that's what lingers
Mhm.
with. I get that in some IPAs too, but it's just
not as
not the
much.
favorite.
Yeah.
Licking an orange and then having that be
Yeah.
what you're tasting.
That's true.
When I think of an orange, I think of a blue moon. And I'm going to keep it at that.
Mm,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Then just-
Don't taint your brain.
Period.
Don't
I don't
That's
change
not-
my blue moon.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Get on to good stuff.
Yeah. well-
College football.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're going to be running through the Power 5 conferences. ACC, Big 12,
Pac-12.
Pac-12,
SEC.
SEC, and Big 10.
Those are...
So we're going to run through them, talk through some of the favorites. If there's anything notable to talk about any of the teams, we'll really let Andrew kind of roll with it. And then we'll go through those 5 conferences. And then at the end, we're finishing with our picks for the college football playoff and national championship. Cool.
Sweet.
All right, starting with the ACC. Go.
I mean, ACC, you can't, I mean, when you think ACC football, you think Clemson, right? And they had under their circumstances, a down last year. They had a couple of flop games. And then I think they kind of quietly went under the radar and finished strong. I mean, with their bowl game, they're 10-3. I mean, that's not a bad season, 10 wins at all.
For them, though, it's just...
For
Bad
them,
for them.
definitely qualifies as a down year.
Mhm.
They ran into Pitt last year, and with Kenny Pickett, I mean, I think Kenny shined more than maybe Clemson could hold up with them. They're obviously, I think, the favorite. I think Pitt is up there as well. I know you lose your starting quarterback, your ACC, but their defense is still there. And usually defenses travel. Yes, it's hard to, player the conference, all
The wide receiver.
national player of the year, different things like that. Those are going to hurt. So where you're going to find your offense. But I don't sleep on Pitt. And the only other team that I do kind of put in there is that NC State. They had a great last year. Kind of the reverse of Clemson, where they had a 9-3 year, but it was a good 9-3 year versus a bad 9-3. I don't think they are quite there yet, but I think that they're above kind of the rest of the pack.
No pun intended.
Exactly. The only other team to mention really from last, I mean, you can talk about the Hurricanes. You want them to be back, but they're just
New coach?
a new coach. I get
Crystal
it.
ball.
And they got a new locker room, right?
New locker room. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
That
when
goes
they-
a long way.
Fellas are coming.
The retirement of the chain, maybe it
Yeah.
kind of overplayed its due. I get it. I am going to take a year off of believing in the U, and then maybe they can get back into the hunch this year. But that's kind of your main ones for me. Clemson comes back to power, and they kind of take control of the ACC.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. I'm actually on the opposite in the sense of, I do think Clemson will take it, but I do think Miami will win their Coastal Division over Pittsburgh. I mean, it could go both ways. I just think when you lose your starting quarterback, the number one wide receiver, obviously your defense is great, but there are some holes. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the hardest part about the U is every year I feel like the U has such high hopes. It's like Florida State. Florida State used to be like, oh my God, it's Florida State. Now Florida State's the bottom, medium to bottom of that conference.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I think there's just Clemson will come back to form. NC State is going to be a fun thing to watch. Their quarterback's dominant.
And I think the other two, Miami, Pittsburgh, are going to be up there too. So yeah, I mean, I would agree with that take. I think you can't go against Clemson. I mean, the new defensive coordinator. I mean, he left to go to Oklahoma, but I mean, I think, like you said, I think Dabo has those boys ready to roll.
Yeah.
Especially after last year. I mean, you can't have two. I mean,
No. It's hard pressed to have 2 bad years in a row.
I mean, what's his
Be a
DJ
natural caller.
Agumbawale or whatever, their quarterback needs to step up. I mean, he just has to. So.
Do you think that Dabo's job is safe,
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
even if they have a 9 and whatever that would be?
I think you talk about it, but I think Dabo is the guy. I mean, here's the thing with Dabo is he's been so successful that if you're Clemson, you keep him for a long time.
What?
You just do.
and I think
Who are you going to find that's better than him?
that's exactly my point. It's one of those situations where who else is out there?
Right.
It's maybe not like, oh, he's not doing it for you, but is the guy you're going to go get better?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I mean,
Yeah, it's
Probably not.
I don't think so.
100%.
All right, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything to add.
No,
that sounds good to me.
That's the ACC.
I mean, you have to. Yeah, you just have to think then.
Do you think that any team outside of those 4 has a outside shot at it?
I mean, you could point to Wake Forest last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they climbed all the way in the rankings. I think even would they make it to 10 or 11 last year?
Oh, that's
They were
pretty good.
they were undefeated, things like that, and then they just got steamrolled their last 3 games of the year and kind of fell off the cliff. So yeah, if you can, you know, they return a couple guys. If you can keep that momentum going and then avoid the cliff, they could scare some people. But I think it's their defense
It's pretty
last
much
year
those
was
ones.
it was atrocious, and
Yeah.
so.
I think the other team would be potentially Louisville. They have like their guys coming back, Malik Cunningham, quarterback. I mean, but it's the same story. It's like all these games, you'll have to beat an NC State or a Clemson to jump up to those guys,
Yeah.
and I just don't see that happening.
Okay.
So those would be my only 2.
Fair enough. All right, let's jump to the Big 12 now. So that's where Clemson's defensive coordinator went, Oklahoma. What do you think about the Big 12?
I mean, for me, it is Oklahoma at the top. It's like I said, I love defense, college football, as much points and things like that. Boy, when it gets down to it, defense usually wins, and that's kind of football in general. The Big 12, for me though, is kind of it's a crapshoot. You know, it's with the cloud of, you know, multiple teams and the confirmation of Texas and Oklahoma moving, and then you don't know where other people are going. It's like, I just think that's going to play a part in making this year probably the most kind of contentious and crazy year in the Big 12 history. I think there's just going to be upsets. This person beats that person. You know, any given day, I think anybody can beat anybody in the top half of the Big 12. You know, you got your lower teams, your West Virginias, Kansases, things like that. But
Yeah.
in terms of your middle, that your Oklahoma State, your Iowa State, even Kansas State, all the way up through the Texas Baylors. I mean, they're all, I think, right there. So it's going to be a wild year. Predicting a 1 through 5 in that conference, I think, could go any way. I have Oklahoma coming out just because I think that they're the one team that has historically, at least in the last 5 years, been kind of there and been in it. They've got some of a hard schedule at the beginning. They get some of that taste of, I mean, we can talk about Nebraska, but you can get some of the taste of the big games early so that they can prepare them for the end. But it's going to be a fun year in the Big 12.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you think of the Big 12, and I think it always gets shown once they go, if they make it to the Final Four. I mean, they just don't. Their defenses are usually below average, and they just try to score 55 to 60 points. Will it be different now with Oklahoma's coach being the Clemson defense coordinator? I don't know, potentially. I want to see how Texas performs. Obviously, they have Quinn Ewers, who's a transfer, leading that now named quarterback 1, and they have Brajan Robinson, who's a stud running back. So I think when you think about it, like, Texas should be good, and next year they have Arch Manning coming in at quarterback. So it's like, do they have the tools? Maybe. I don't know. I just think it'll be a tough year for them. I think this conference always surprises people because it's like Oklahoma State, Baylor, they're solid, but compared to other divisions, I think they're a little below average. So I agree with Andrew. I think Oklahoma takes it.
I feel like Texas is always supposed to be pretty good, and then they always disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, they always play. It's like they'll play Oklahoma and they'll give up 65 points. It'll be like 65-55.
It's always the game of the year.
Yeah,
it's always fantastic.
Red River
You need to
is
watch.
so-
Yeah.
it's just so many points. But I think that's. I mean, I think besides that, I think when you think about those teams, I think Oklahoma will run away with it.
What do you think will happen with Texas at quarterback next year?
I gotta give it to Arch. If Arch came to your school and you recruited him that much, you gotta give it to Arch. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Quinn does. I mean, this is Quinn's first year at quarterback.
Yeah,
He
first
didn't even
year
play
at
last year.
Texas.
Yeah.
And
Got $1
first
million to go to Ohio State, graduate early, takes the $1 million, transfers to Texas. Now he looks like Cam Smith, a football player. Yeah, he's a freaking rat mole, whatever. But he should be good. Like a rat tail, whatever.
He's got a lot.
He's got a ratty little thing.
He's got a lot going on up there.
Hey, it's his look.
Kid can sling it. That's all that matters. They don't care what you look like. So
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. What is it, JT Daniels? He's in there, isn't he?
yeah, he's West Virginia, I think, isn't he?
And they're just going to be so poor. He's not going to be able to take him to greatness.
I mean, like I said,
That's the
they're
hard
gonna
questions.
be in some games, and they're gonna lose some games that they should not lose, and win some game. I mean, they'll be in there, but I don't know.
You think they beat Pitt right away?
I don't.
Personally, I don't. I'm high on Pitt, but
That's why I asked.
no, I'm taking Pitt.
Okay.
You can write it down,
Yep.
tweet it, put it on the
boards.
Instagram. Put it. I'm there.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Pac-12.
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting.
Kind of, it's kind of like the Big 12, but you got your big names, your Oregon, your USC, your UCLA. Utah now has established itself, especially after last year.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere.
No, and just being solid, and they return a ton. You look at anybody and everybody, they're high on Utah, and I have no reason not to believe them. I have no reason not to believe in Utah and how they're not afraid of. I think of it like Arizona about 5 years ago. They were good, but then when they got under the bright lights of the big games, they kind of would fold. And I think Utah was there and folded a couple times, and then last year proved that and I know USC and Oregon even were down last year, but I feel like Utah took a step forward and they said, hey, we belong here. We can win here. We can be the top of the class. And so I think that they have no reason to stop thinking that. And then same with the Big 12, man. I mean, when you know that USC and UCLA are on their way out, shipping to the Big Ten, it's going to lead to an awesomely crazy year out west.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy. I think Utah, like you said, doesn't get as much publicity because obviously USC is taking that with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams and all these guys transfer the wide receiver too. But I think what's crazy is I think Utah is always just the solid team. It'll be interesting to me how Oregon does. New coach, Bo Nix transfer from Auburn. But then also UCLA come in, like you said, last year there. But then they have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's been there for 10 years. I think. He was on like QB1, and it was like, that was 6 years ago, and he's a solid quarterback. So I think for them, their top is
at this point.
Right, their top is pretty solid. I mean, Washington State also is fun to watch because they just throw the ball 80 times. So it'll be interesting to see. Fun fact, Herm Edwards is still the coach of Arizona State. I don't know if anybody knew that. He should go back to sitting behind the booth or doing whatever he's doing. He might be next year. But
Fun fact, he's still the coach.
But I mean, I think it will be interesting. I think it will be a toss-up between USC and Utah. I think USC is the more appealing option, but I think Utah is so solid that it's like I think USC will take it home.
It's top end talent versus kind of those solid, steady, solid players.
Just the grinders.
It's do you want to take the shot at the top end? Because sometimes you just never know.
Right. And I think they're gonna be fun to watch. I think they're gonna put up points. I think Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams and all those guys will have fun. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, could Utah's defense shut them down? And Utah just plays the right way. Yeah. It was kind of like how Oregon's always been. Oregon's been so flashy with all their uniforms and all this. Then they started to decrease, and everyone's like, it's just Oregon. Cool uniforms, but who cares? So
Chris?
Oh, I like USC.
Oh, you like the
Give me
show.
Give me the flashy,
He
baby.
wants a
Well, he also
transfer. He
likes-
wants
yeah.
a brand new shiny coach.
Well, he also likes California more than Utah. Let's just be honest.
Well, I'm a UCLA guy, so me picking USC's.
Why did you go with UCLA? What's wrong with those boys?
I just don't think they got it.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right. So what are we on? SEC now?
I mean, I think this is pretty unanimous, but
All right. So we got
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a lot.
SEC.
Yeah, the SEC, we can talk a lot about kind of, but it's a two-man race. I mean, it's Georgia and Alabama.
100%.
The flashy, under the radar, you know, I want to be ahead of the curve pick is that Texas A&M. You know, I mean, if you haven't heard about the Jimbo Fisher, you know, Saban kind of back and forth recruiting players, things like that, you're not paying attention at all. But it's
October 8th.
Yeah, October 8th.
October 8th is the day.
It's like it's gonna be fun, and I think people love to root against Alabama, and people love to say, "Oh yeah, this year's Texas A&M year, they're gonna come, they're gonna do it." I don't see it. I'm not gonna put my money on it. Would I hate to see it? No. I love parity. I love knocking down some of those the high horses and bringing them back to the pack. But I mean,
If you
come
love
on.
parody, then college football is
no,
not
no,
your thing.
especially the SEC is not your.
I mean, let's be honest. There's a reason that Alabama just gave Nick Saban, who's 70 years old, like 10 more years.
Yeah.
And $90 million.
And
Because they said, hey, we trust you. And here's the thing is, people hate him so much, and he loves it, and he just keeps producing. So until they show they can't win every game, you have to vote for them.
It's the Tom Brady effect to me. It's like you're never gonna make money betting against Tom Brady. You're
Right.
usually not gonna make money betting against Alabama.
I will say this, Alabama's side of it, so the West is a lot more competitive than the East. I don't think Kentucky is as good as what people think. I think Georgia will run through that. Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida, still whatever. But like Texas A&M, like you said, solid. LSU,
It's gonna be
decent.
LSU.
Ole Miss, Hottie Toddies, the boys. Probably won't be as good this year because I don't know one player on the team. But the boys, shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. But I mean, it's just hard when you have to go play in Alabama. I mean, you have 100,000 people watching every game, and I mean, they don't. That's what they do.
You can't call them your boys and then say that they're gonna suck.
Lane Kiffin, all I know is the coach.
Yeah.
It's a rebuilding year. They lost Snoop
Find
Conner.
your
That's
next-
my boy.
How many
Lost Matt Corral.
rebuilding
Find your
years
next
can you
Corral,
have?
they're gonna-
Well, wait, pause. Last year they were ranked. Last year they were decent. Matt Corral was a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Nard. Don't do me like that.
It's fine.
Come on,
Which
Nard.
is great.
Texas A&M, I will say, shout out to them. They have a great recruiting class. So 2-3 years.
No, who knows? Like I said, they're coming.
I just
They're
think-
there yet.
Also, low key, Jimbo Fisher, you're a great guy. Don't start a fire with Nick Saban. He's gonna kick your butt and he's gonna beat you by 50 points. Don't talk smack to the
I don't know about
the guy.
50, but probably 30.
Okay, what are we talking about here? Take the spread.
Yeah,
take
yeah.
the spread.
You would take
It's in
the
Alabama.
Yeah.
Take
Book
the
it.
spread. Book it.
October 8th.
October 8th.
Yeah, it is in Alabama, so that's an extra touchdown.
That's an extra 3 touchdowns. I will say it will be interesting. I think Georgia obviously losing a lot of defensive players. I mean,
But
they'll
they
still
still
go
have
undefeated, but they still, it's the same thing. They just keep rebuilding. Their farm system is literally an NFL.
I was gonna say, what they have? They had 6 guys taking the first
think
round,
so, yeah.
just on the defensive side of the ball.
Stupid.
It's unbelievable.
Stupid.
And they got the other guys that weren't eligible coming this year.
So
Yeah.
SEC championship, Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah,
Who do we have?
Georgia.
I see it's the
I'm gonna go with that.
bagging kind of flashy pick. I'm gonna pick anybody that's kind of good against Alabama, and it worked out last year.
Mhm.
I mean, they did it.
Here's a question
I
for you.
don't see
And
it.
I think it's the same story every year. They both go undefeated, play each other in the SEC championship. Do they both go to the Final Four?
They'll
still?
be.
They
And we'll,
have to.
It's the same
and
thing.
we- I
Every
was
year,
gonna
what do
say,
you do? 1 versus 4, and then 1's 3, 1's 1, and then they'll play
and
each
then
other.
just
again.
rematch again.
I mean, it's like somebody tweeted. It's like, why don't we just skip the whole year, which would be terrible. But it's Ohio State. It's Ohio State. We'll get to.
Wait, we're not
Oh,
doing
hold on,
that.
Oh, we're not doing our 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
wait.
No.
We got the
Relax.
best conference in the nation to sum up here.
That is true. That is
Alright.
true. That is true.
All right, so now we're on the Big Ten.
Yeah, let's just jump right to it.
Yeah.
Where people want to hear kind of the talk.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Big Ten, fantastic. I think deepest division. I think last week's kind of Northwestern Nebraska game showed you that this whole conference is deep, and not that anybody can beat anybody on any day, top to bottom, but Big Ten plays a brand of football that travels and that can beat anybody.
And it showed that Nebraska's below average.
It also, which I just love to hear.
I mean, at some point, no offense to Scott Frost, he's got to go. I mean, there's been high hopes for him for 3-4 years. He stinks.
And he hit the transfer portal in year 5, which is not usually what an established kind of successful coach really does.
100%.
And he hit it hard, and boy, week 1 was kind of a failed experiment. So let's move on to. They're saying move on to week 2 and flush it down the drain, but
it's hard to flush that down the drain, dude. That's a game you have to win.
It was
if you're in Nebraska.
Ugly. It was beautiful. All at the same time.
And a lot of beer was flowing.
Oh,
that was
free
the best
beer.
part.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah, free beer.
I got to cut some power lines at Huntington Bay Stadium and see if I can get some.
We don't do that in the United States. We would charge double.
Yeah.
We'd be like cash only. You don't have cash, nothing.
Fair.
Yeah.
We start out with the East. Obviously, you're gonna have your the big knockers. The Ohio State, Michigan, 1-2. You can throw Penn State in there. I'm a little down on Penn State this year. And then Michigan State's getting some early love. My intel tells me that I think they're a little overrated. I don't think they're gonna. I think Walker kind of carried them on their back last year. I think that they're gonna miss him is the easiest way to say it. They're gonna miss him this year. So I think it's a 2-man race. Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, they're all kind of they're doing their thing. They're gonna beat up on each other. They're gonna play good. Gets to bowl season, I'm gonna bet on them all the time. But when it comes to this, it's gonna be Michigan, Ohio State, and to me, Ohio State. It's just Michigan had their run last year. It's kind of one of those things where, kind of like Georgia, I think last year they upset the giant. Michigan finally got over that Ohio State hill. I think it comes back. I think Ohio State says not this year. I think they have an amazing year. And end up in the Big Ten championship.
That's November 26th, by the way.
Love
Michigan is going to Ohio State.
Yeah, always a much watch.
I think we also shouldn't throw away the
Is that
first game of the
Thanksgiving?
year, September 3rd. Notre Dame goes to Ohio State.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
there's
heard,
been some chirps about that.
17.5 point spread.
As it should be. Ohio State.
and I
will.
heard it's $400 getting the door price right
Oh,
now
wow.
in $100,000. I mean, a 100-seat stadium. I mean,
I think it's always hard.
incredible.
That's the biggest thing is what people don't realize is like when you go play in Ohio State or Michigan, that is double the capacity of most of these Big Ten schools.
no,
It's like Penn State. You see these videos where Penn State has this whiteout and the quarterback can't even hear anything because it's so loud.
Yep.
And it's like you just don't get that at some of these smaller schools like Illinois, Northwestern, the U, whatever. But anyways, we only can hold 46. But tailgate's a good time. But I agree with Andrew. I mean, in the East, it's 2-man. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan. I think it will be interesting that one game in Ohio State when Michigan travels there. I think Michigan's a solid team. They're kind of just a ground and pound guy, and Ohio State's kind of the flashy. I mean, they have 2 potential Heisman candidates.
Yeah,
But playing at the Big House and playing at Ohio State, it's way different.
it's
100%.
astronomical.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like I just said. It's like when you go there, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was in Michigan, this would be a completely
Closer.
different topic. 100%.
Closer.
Right.
Well, Michigan's got to find a quarterback too. Right now, I think
They're going
Starting.
1 the first
Yeah,
week,
I mean, it's
and
just-
then the other one the second week.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Well, also,
Wait.
no offense, Jim Harbaugh, he's a weird guy. He's a weirdo. He's a great coach, but he's a weirdo, so he does stuff like that.
Interesting strategy.
What do they always say? If you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you really have none. Like
Yep.
you got to pick one and go with it.
Quote it.
Yeah.
Right there.
All right, West.
West, we love it. I mean, it's your natural 3 powerhouses. We've all saw Nebraska turns out to be frauds, right? They want to be in that top conversation in the West. I just don't think they're there yet. Obviously, they aren't. So you got your 3 big ones. You got Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota, and those 3 are gonna just beat up on the rest of the West. I think those 3 with their style of football, transfers everywhere. They can play everywhere. It's gonna be tight. All the games. It's gonna go down to those last couple games. I know Minnesota's got Iowa and Wisconsin. They're week 11 and 12 of the season. It's going to be fun, just like last year with Minnesota. I think they're going to have it in front of them. It's just, can they get over the Iowa hump week 11, and can they keep the axe here in week 12?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's always those. I feel like it's always those 3. I think the biggest thing
with them is like those other two teams. Like if you play Purdue's no slouches. I mean, it's always a good game, and I think the difference is whenever you have to travel to some teams, like it's always harder. I think in the Big Ten because we play that style, and so Purdue's always a tougher matchup. Obviously, getting Iowa at home this year is huge. Playing Wisconsin, it will always come down to the same games.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously, I have the Gophers winning the West.
Yep.
Because I just hate Wisconsin too, but. I mean, I just think
no
it's
homer.
But I think it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's like, first of all, it's Tanner Morgan's 8th year. He's got to show up. It's Mo Ibrahim's back. That man is back. Our defense is good. Our offensive line is top. We have a few top players on our offensive line.
Yeah, we got a top
center.
center. We're gonna be okay. Got to fill some holes, and you lose 4/5 of your offensive line. It's always gonna be next man up mentality. But you're right. The top end guys. Crab, Chris Hotman-Bell, back. Mo Ibrahim, back.
I mean, at some point,
Morgan,
Tanner's got it. Yeah, you just got to give him.
And our tight end.
And Brevin Spanford, back. I mean, so if everyone can stay healthy, and I know any team could probably say that, but if Minnesota especially can stay healthy and keep their ones on the field, I just don't see any way how any other team has the top end talent that Minnesota has. And so I agree with Dave. I think they take the West. I think they climb the Iowa hump. I think they finally get over the hill after 7 years. I think Wisconsin, they ride that Iowa high, keep the axe here, and we go into that Big Ten championship game feeling strong about our chances.
Yeah.
And then even if we lose that one, then we go to the Rose Bowl.
Let's go. Book it.
I mean, the thing is, this is like for the Gophers, it's just getting to that point where also with PJ, it's like, dog, we got to get back to performing. I mean, last year was obviously a tough year.
Well.
But then it's like you also think about,
but
you also think about like the year he had that was unreal. I mean, you had 2 NFL players that are now, one's a stud wide receiver and one's a 3rd or 4th string. But it's just like still the same quarterback. It's still the same guy. Just got to perform. And Mo Ibrahim will be great. Obviously, health is a huge thing, but I think they take the West. I think that'll be a fun matchup. Ohio State, Minnesota, in the championship.
That'd be nice.
It would be fantastic.
Okay, so. Now let's go to the college football playoff. So still 4 teams. We can debate that at a different point. But
we didn't make that rule.
But who's everybody got? 1 through 4.
I think
in order, or do you want just 4?
What do you want to do?
I mean, it's up to, we could just get 4. You can get 4 if you have a unanimous one. Go with 1 and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you I mean, I think the 4, and I think it's the safe 4, but I mean, with college football, we've seen it's rarely not the 4 that you think. I do think Alabama and Georgia, I think that they go up with, or, up to each other. I think Alabama comes through. I think they're the number 1 seed. I think Ohio State, as much as I want to believe in my Gophers, I think we meet in the Big Ten championship. I think they edge us on a late minute or last second field goal. I think they're your
squeak.
I think that we definitely cover. Row the boat. Sky Mago Gophers. I think they're your 2 seed, Ohio State. I think Utah in the Pac-12. I think for some reason this year, because of the conferences and everything like that, I think the committee is going to show some love to those big conference winners, just because I think they're going to be kind of all over the place when it comes to where it's going to be in the next couple of years. And they want to, I'm not going to say try to keep those conferences together, but they want those conferences to mean something. And so I think winning the Pac-12 with 11-1 record, as long as they don't slip up to really anybody except USC, I think that they make it. And I think that SEC loss from Georgia to Alabama is actually going to be enough to keep them out. And I think they put a team like Oklahoma in there. Again, champion of the Big 12. I think they sneak them in there just because they're going to put even more emphasis on championship winners.
So who were your 4?
So I got Oklahoma, Alabama, Ohio State, and Utah.
Wow. I have only, I think, 2 of the same. I'm going to go with Alabama, the number 1. I am going to go with Ohio State, and here's where I'm changing. I think it goes Clemson, and then I want to pick the Bulldogs, but I'm not. I'm going USC. So I think USC will flip to Utah. I do think it'll be a discussion because I think Georgia will easily go 12-0 until that SEC championship. So it'll always be a discussion. But I think whoever wins that game, the other one should be knocked out. Let's make a statement this year.
Yeah.
We're not having two of those teams every year. Change it up.
Who was your?
So Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. So it actually went Ohio State 2, Clemson 3.
I got you. Mine's slightly different. I have Georgia 1, and then Ohio State 2, Alabama 3, and USC 4.
So only not really big. One different team to me.
Yeah, one different team, but
Different order. No,
Well,
that's
yeah,
big.
that's fair.
Different
You think
order.
Who do you have
Alabama's
winning
not-
the national championship? Or who do you have going to the national championship?
Georgia and Alabama.
I have
I
it.
read that article.
Hey, at least I have them in the college football playoff, like neither of you guys.
Because we want some parity, Nard. I mean, it's Nard.
Hey.
Here's the thing.
Hey, when it happens, I'm gonna remember episode 25. Come back and say I was the only
the
one
clip.
that said it.
I got Alabama and Ohio State, and I actually think this year is the year that the Big Ten kind of lumps over Alabama. It's more of a slip up game rather than a we're taking over. I think Alabama drops another one when it comes to Nick Saban's terms. You know, losing the national championship is
Down
slipping
here.
up, is a down year, and I think Ohio State takes it home.
Man. I think it's Ohio State. I think it's Alabama, Clemson. I think Clemson beats Ohio State, but Alabama beats Clemson. So I think Alabama wins the national championship.
Oh, I have Alabama winning the national championship.
So we have the same winner. You just have a different team.
I have Alabama versus Georgia.
And I have Alabama, Clemson, and you have Ohio State,
Alabama. Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
There you go. I will
Remember this episode.
Yeah, 25.
I think the odds, if you took the odds for Georgia and Alabama to make the national championship, is like minus 300.
Yeah, it's
like
it won't make
you
you
lose
money.
money.
Yeah, it won't make
And
you
also, just fun fact for you, at least it was probably like a week or two ago. If you parlayed Alabama to win the SEC West, Georgia to win the SEC East, and Ohio State to win the Big Ten West, if you parlayed the Big Ten East, if you parlayed all three of those, is like minus 145, which is actually pretty good. That's pretty good odds.
With those big favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, you think about those, they should.
This isn't betting advice, but I think that's a good bet.
You'd never give out betting advice.
No, it's not allowed.
What was it? Plus what?
It's minus 145.
Oh, for all three of them?
Yeah.
Nice.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say that would be a bet that would be worth making.
No, not betting advice.
Yeah.
It would be a bet
if
we
I
would take.
if I was going
If it was
to
legal.
advise.
Yep.
But I'm
you're
not.
No,
But I'm
absolutely
not.
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I like
just
it.
I'm just throwing it out there and just
I mean, it will be. I would think it will be. At some point, you just kind of hope, like, I don't know if an expansion makes any sense because I don't know if 8 teams would change anything. I think the same teams would win the first round by. I mean, if you played like last year, if you had a Cincinnati in there, Cincinnati gets steamrolled by
40.
Georgia or by anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just sorry. It's just one of those things. It's like the same thing, and maybe this year will be different. And I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it's hard when you have either 8 teams or 4 teams. I don't think it matters. I think the same 4 teams would be in the Final Four.
There may be one different, but it
The
won't.
4 seed
It won't
probably.
change the
Probably
the national champion game,
No.
the national championship game.
I mean, here's the thing: is if they really wanted to make a statement, play the SEC championship and then play them again the next week, one versus 4. So only one SEC team makes it, and then the other conferences make it.
They've done that in the past. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. But that'd
That'd be
What you
tough
gotta do.
because it'd be a rematch,
screw it.
back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Good.
Or
Learn
I guess
from it.
not back-to-back
It's
weeks.
like you get like 4 weeks
A month in between.
to
Yeah.
prepare. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Fun though. New Year's Day.
There you go.
Bang.
All right, I think that's all we want to say on college football for now.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be back. He'll be back. Andrew will
I'll
be
weasel
back.
my way in here.
Yep.
I love it.
Whether it's in
Gave him a
person or-
key. Even if he's not invited, he'll weasel his way back. We do the same time every Monday, so he knows.
Yeah, now it's now.
we might not have our crowd, but Andrew will be here.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'd be able to hear something if the crowd wasn't
Yeah.
here, you know?
Yeah,
It's just deafening over there.
Yeah. All right.
There it was.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that you could probably hear that. This
Yeah.
picks up
Yeah.
everything. Okay, so we're done with college football, and are we doing the draft?
Yeah, let's do top 3, quick.
All right. Top three
Because
school
you'll be
supplies.
part of it. So top 3. Yep, school supplies. Andrew, call it. You get to decide.
Yeah, I want
Heads
to
or
go
tails?
heads or tails.
You have to
Yeah,
say
you have to say it when it's in there. Have you ever done a coin toss?
Well, I thought there was 3. I didn't know you had a 3-sided coin.
No. It's just heads. You're deciding if you go first, second, or if you go. Okay, just
Okay, so heads.
heads or tails. All right, so you're.
All right.
You want first, second, or third?
I'll go. Give me. I want second.
Second, and then there.
Tails.
Heads. I'll go first.
Okay.
So you're third, and it's a snake, so it goes.
Yeah,
behind, so
yeah.
So we're doing only top 3.
Yeah.
So what is this subject?
School supplies.
Oh,
In honor of.
I was say school starting when this pod drops. Well, it'll be end of the workshop week, day after Labor Day. I know for some schools starting early before Labor Day. We were there last year. No bueno. So here we go.
So enjoy the summer while you can.
That's
Hey,
right.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. My favorite school supplies. So I'm gonna go with, as a child, I'm gonna go with the smell and sniff markers.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah, there it is. Who
Well,
was second? Oh, we're going.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd follow this. For me, Crayola, 64 box crayon set with the sharpener in the back. Right, if you had that, you were
Spoken like a true teacher.
you were
Kid
king
got
of the
to it.
castle.
Your kids
even-
have that in high school?
Well, even now you'll see some, and I'll like gravitate towards them. And I'll say, hey, I mean, you and I were friends.
Yeah. Hey,
Like-
you're gonna be a CEO of a company. You have that.
Yeah, well,
I love it.
and
I
they
love
get it. They understand.
Yeah. So many colors. So many.
I mean,
colors. There's so many worthless colors. Somebody one day was just like, let's make a new blue and let's call it sky blue.
It was perfectly extra.
It's a Target special.
Yeah.
That is extra. I'm gonna go with the binder with all the different pockets, and it has a zip.
Oh, like the
Around.
3-ring binder.
Yeah, it's a
where you got
3-ring
a
binder.
handle that you used to
Yeah,
carry around
and it's
with.
like fabric based, and it's got a zipper around where you open it up, and then you open it up, and it has all the different pockets on it,
Yeah,
and you
and it
can
fans, of
slit.
course, yeah.
You can slit your pencils and pens in
I
it.
never used that, but yeah, I think it looks cool.
Yep.
Used a notebook and a pencil.
That explains a lot, David.
I'm here, aren't I?
And then I'm also gonna go with the let's go with the school supplies box,
Like a. What do you mean? Like a pen.
like the plastic container.
Oh, that you would pull open.
You
Oh,
snap,
yeah.
you snap
Flip
open,
open.
and
It's
it's got like
snap.
the bumps on the top.
Yeah,
It's
you have
got
to get like
little
the
middle-
cool color, and
Yeah.
you're sick. Yeah, I like that.
I'd say for my next one, I'm going classic. There are a lot of pencils out there in the world, but there's nothing better than a Ticonderoga yellow number 2 pencil with the soft, like yellow pink eraser that erased everything. It wasn't one that just smudged everything. I mean, it got rid of things. That number 2 Ticonderoga yellow pencil, just, you can't beat it. It was the cream of the cream.
Ticonderoga. That's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the probably used more in high school and college, but the cool little black ink pens that like click. They're the nice fine tip.
Oh, you're going, yeah, you
Pilot
tell Pilot G,
G7s.
the G7.
It's a G2. I only want a G2.
Yeah, you like
G2.
that small. You don't like the big.
I don't want a
kind of-
G7. Yeah, we're just finding a G2. Shout out to whoever sang that song. Like a G6, that was G6. Never mind, scratch that. And then my last
That
one.
bumps his list down for
Then
sure.
my last one is what are they called? They're like the they're the notebooks, but they're the big ones, so they're like the 3 subject, I think they're
Yeah,
called.
3 subject, 5
They're
subject.
massive, and then they have a folder. at
It's
the
got
back.
the
You want
yellow
the 5
folder in
you want the
between.
5 stars?
I don't think they're 5 stars. I think
Yeah,
they're.
they are.
Are they 5 stars?
Well, they
Yeah.
go through, but then they got the subjects, right? You got the
Yeah.
3 subject, which is that 1 inch.
5-star,
5
3
subject that's a
subjects.
little thicker.
Yeah, I've only
You
went
want
the 3 subject. Only took 3 classes at a time. That's Smoop. Shout out Smoop. So 3 subject. Didn't have to carry a folder. There we go.
I'm gonna round out my my list with just the classic. Everybody wanted it. The TI-84 calculator.
Oh,
I mean, Texas Instruments, shout out.
Yeah.
you got the games on there. You can just go into notes. You can, put in all the answers and somehow.
You can type on it.
That calculator could do everything that you could ever want it.
Yeah.
So that's a steal.
Yeah. Never use it again after college.
Oh, throw that right away.
Nah, see you.
You could also program different games and stuff.
Oh, it's incredible. You could
yeah.
download anything. I mean,
That's how you became the cool kid.
It was incredible.
You had the game.
And you were sitting there in the corner, and everybody was huddled around,
And they would call on you, and you would have no idea. Perfect.
I'm gonna round out my list with gel pens.
Gel pens. Okay.
Yep.
Strong.
Yep.
At least we all use a writing utensil. That's good.
That's
So I needed to put something in my school supplies box.
Right. I got this
You
big
can't
ass
just-
box. I got nothing in
Click
it.
it empty.
It's not too big.
Yeah.
All right, so list is David has smell and sniff markers. Just know that's so loud. Smell and sniff markers, the Pilot G2s and pens, and the 5-star 3-subject notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's list is the Crayola 64 crayon box with the sharpener on the side.
Do they sell them?
The Ticonderoga number 2 pencils with the eraser that erases everything, and the TI-84 calculators.
Yep.
My list is the fabric binders with the pockets for everything, school supplies box with the latch, flipping it open.
It's got a binder and a box.
Just let keep going.
I need a lot of stories.
Hey, but everyone,
And then
guess what's in his box? A whole thing of
Gel pens.
That's right. That is a kid you wanted to sit next to in school, right there, folks.
Yeah. There we go.
Wait, so they don't have a Crayola thing crayons without the sharpener, or do they?
The 64.
Not at the 64 level.
Man, could you imagine if you asked your parents to go get you that and they came back with
With
a
the
32?
32 pack.
Went from top 2 in the school to bottom 2. So
you just got way too many crayons
Yeah.
with not enough ways to sharpen them.
Yeah.
Yep, nowhere to put them. All right. Well, that's it for today.
That's 25, yeah.
25.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again to Andrew for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Be
I loved
sure
it.
to keep up with us because he'll be back soon. And that's it.
Peace.
Peace.